ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। We'll chant Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, verses 39 to 43.
आवृतं ज्ञानमेतेन ज्ञानिनो नित्यवैरिणा कामरूपेण कौन्तेय दुष्पूरेणानलेन च इन्द्रियाणि मनोबुद्धिः अस्याधिष्ठानमुच्यते एतैर्विमोहयत्येषः ज्ञानमावृत्य देहिनम् तस्मात् त्वमिन्द्रियाण्यादौ नियम्य भरतर्षभ पाप्मानं प्रजहिह्येनं ज्ञानविज्ञाननाशनम् इन्द्रियाणि पराण्याहुः इन्द्रियेभ्यः परं मनः मनसस्तु परा बुद्धिः योर्बुद्धे परतस्तु सः एवं बुद्धे परं बुद्ध्वा संस्तभ्यात्मानमात्मना जहि शत्रुं महाबाहो कामरूपं दुरासदम्.
After Sri Krishna talked about Karma Yoga, the technique of right action, from verse 25 to 35, especially in verse 30, he gave the technique of right action. Then in 35, he emphasized on following your Swadharma and within Swadharma, not acting on likes and dislikes. Then Arjuna asks a question in 36th shloka. By what compelled or forced does man commit sin? Even though he knows what is right, what is wrong, why do people commit sin? Don't do what they ought to do and do what they ought not to do. This is Arjuna's question, for which Sri Krishna answered in 37. He said, the reason for this is the desire, and that desire modifies into many other things like anger. So he said, Kama esha krodha esha rajo guna samudbhavaha. It is desire, it is anger, born of the quality of rajas. What is the nature of this? It is all devouring. It is a great consumer. And how much ever you feed the desire, it will still want more and more. And it therefore cannot be satisfied by external pursuits, whether it is at the material level, physical level, emotional level, or intellectual level. At all levels, as long as the pursuit is external, it will still be craving for more and more. The nature of the desire is what? To crave for more and more. The mind gets attached to what you have and it craves for what you don't have. And because of this, people start committing sin, he says. It is papmanaha, all sinful. Therefore, the enemy here is that desire only. The enemy is in the form of desire within us. And it covers the wisdom within. It covers the Atma within. It covers the discrimination in us. And he said it covers as fire, covers smoke, dust covers mirror, and embryo, the womb covering the embryo. So embryo is covered by the womb. He gives 3 examples to tell us that the desire can be of sattvic nature, or rajasic nature, or tamasic nature. Whatever may be the nature they are covering, the sattvic desires are covering like smoke covers the fire. A little passing wind can remove the smoke. A little effort by the individual is enough to overcome those desires and bring out the wisdom or reveal the self. But when it comes to rajasic desires, it is like dust covering mirror. It cannot be just with little effort. There is tremendous effort required if you have to remove dust. Similarly, to remove rajasic desires, you need to put in a lot more effort. So he therefore gives the example of mirror covered by dust. And then he said, embryo is covered in the womb. It takes 9 months. Similarly, when the tamasic desire is covering our wisdom, not only effort is important, time also will be more. So you have to be patiently putting in effort consistently. This is what he explained. And then we have seen up to 39. In 39, he says, O Kaunteya, wisdom is covered by this constant enemy. Till you realize the self, this enemy will be there traveling with us. Our mind is made up of 3 temperaments, sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. So we will have these desires till we go beyond the gunas and liberate and realize the self. We become guna atita. Till that, this enemy will travel with us. Therefore, he calls it as, O Kaunteya, wisdom is covered by this constant enemy of the wise in the form of desire, as insatiable fire. How much ever you feed the fire, it will want more and more. So here in these shlokas, he talked about the nature of the enemy, the nature of the desire. See, if we want to manage, control, and become victorious over something, we need to understand it. First of all, when we begin the process of understanding itself, we are separating or distancing ourselves from the problem. So we are going through the problem and mind is attached to that issue, that problem, and we are suffering. Now, the moment we bring in intellect, what the intellect does is, it puts the problem outside of us. Okay, what's the problem? Let us understand. Let us analyze. The fact that you distanced yourself from the problem, now the problem has become the object. You are the subject analyzing the problem. This itself will give a little comfort zone. You feel a little relieved. And when you start analyzing, when you begin to understand it more and more, then you develop the capacity to manage it, control it, overcome it. So therefore, we need to really understand why we are behaving the way we are behaving. We know what is right, we know what is wrong. Yet we don't do what is right and we do what is wrong. And why is it? He says it's the desire. And its nature is explained in detail from verse 37 to 39. Now he says, what is the seat of it? What is the adhishtanam? What is the foundation of it? So the swarupa of kama and the adhishtanam. Now in shloka number 40, he's going to talk about the adhishtanam. What is the seat of this desire? Where does it sit? How does it come into us? So that let's understand now. Verse number 40.
Indriyani mano buddhihi asyaadhisthanamuchyate एतैर्विमोहयत्येषः ज्ञानमावृत्य देहिनम्.
So what is the foundation? What is the seat of this desire? He explains here, he says, the senses, indriyani, the five organs of perception, senses, and the mind, the manas. Indriyani, mano, then buddhihi. So indriyani, manaha, and buddhihi, intellect, are said to be its seat. So the seat of the desire is what? Senses, mind, and intellect is what Sri Krishna is mentioning here. And sitting there, what does it do? Veiling wisdom, covering wisdom, through these, it dilutes the embodied. Embodied meaning the jiva, the individual. So the individual's wisdom is deluded by the desire sitting in the senses, mind, and intellect. So from this verse 40 to 43, Swamiji has divided this into the last topic of this chapter called the ways to overcome, the way to overcome desire. How to overcome desire? By understanding its foundation, seat, source, and then what is the method through which I can overcome. That he is discussing here. So he says, the desire enters you. First of all, he wants to say that the object is outside you. Well, object means world. World is outside of you. So the conviction today we have is that the sense objects, the world, are forcing me. Isn't it? Now, I should therefore run away. So a lot of people think, so this is an online class. So there are people attending classes from different places in India and maybe one or two from abroad also. But whoever is in that respective city, they'll say, this city is the problem. For example, Delhi has pollution issue. This is the problem. So we should, if we get out of Delhi, we'll be fine. Okay. Similarly, every city, every place, every house will have some problem or the other. So if I get out of that, I'll be fine. So first he says, no. The problem is your desire. And where is it? In you. So wherever you go, you're going to carry your senses, mind, and intellect. And so wherever you go, the desire will be with you, you'll be carrying it with you. So there the problem will be there. That's what he wants to say. So first of all, the adhishtanam is the senses, he says. So the desire is in the mind. And it is the desire that expresses as likes and dislikes. I desire this, I don't desire this. They are the likes and dislikes. So now, once I have these likes and dislikes, I allow my senses to function as per my likes and dislikes, and my senses has dwelled upon the sense objects of the world, and have developed habits. You understand? The moment I open my eyes goes to something. For example, when I wake up, I means anybody. Automatically, even before waking up, my hands start searching for the mobile phone. Isn't it? Usually we keep it next to us while we are sleeping, and hands search for the mobile phone. Then we see what's the time. Then we say, okay, who all have messaged? Then if somebody has messaged something good, you are happy. If something negative, you are unhappy. If nobody messaged, also unhappy because you feel you are not wanted. So the habits are there at the sense level and the desire in the mind level. And the buddhi is not strengthened. Therefore, buddhi is now become the slave of the desire. Whatever the desire wants, the buddhi is justifying. Buddhi should be strong and function independently, give you analysis, judgment, independent of the desire. But that's not what happens. So, first of all, the object enters through the senses, then it comes to the mind, then it corrupts the intellect. Like the poem Pineapple and the Bee says, the sight our foolish heart inflames, we long for pineapples in frames. Isn't it? When I first open the eyes, the world enter. So the first place is senses. Then it goes into the mind. Then it goes into the intellect and corrupts. So it is sitting in all these places. And also when you look at it from a different angle, like Swamiji has given in the commentary, we have sensual desires, we have emotional desires, we have intellectual desires. Right? So all these are the desires at different levels: sense level, mind level, intellect level. So it is within us. That's what first thing we need to understand. The enemy is inside, not outside. And whichever place you go, thinking the enemy is outside, you are actually carrying the enemy who is sitting within, and you go to some other place. And that's why when you get there also you are in trouble. So therefore, first and foremost, he says, problem is within you. And the first problem is the senses. Right? Now, you see, when the world object is there outside, is everyone getting the desire? You see an advertisement. Does it affect everyone? It doesn't affect everyone. Because you have the desire, you get affected by it. Because you are habituated, you have been indulging in those things at the sense level. The sense is affected, the mind is affected, and that goes and corrupts the buddhi. And the buddhi starts giving justification as to why you should be the first fellow to buy the ticket and go to that program. Isn't that what happens? So therefore he says, the seat is the sense. Then slowly it enters the mind. Then slowly it enters the buddhi. Once the buddhi is corrupted, we have already seen in the second chapter, buddhi nashat pranashyati. When buddhi is lost, everything is lost. So that's why he says, the desire seat is senses, mind, intellect. The world enters through the senses, and depending upon the desire, it reacts and forces the intellect to respond the way the desire wants, rather than the way it should be. It was Arjuna's question, no? Why is it that we function like this? You know very well that this is right, this is wrong. You've been attending Gita classes. You have Vivek Shakti to some extent. But the moment desire comes, Viveka gone, intellect gone, discrimination gone. Therefore, he says, the adhishtanam, the foundation of the desires is the senses, and then the mind, and then the intellect. You also have desires at the sense level, at the mind level, at the intellect level. Isn't it? At different levels, we have different desires. Sensual desires are there, emotional desires are there, then intellectual desires are there. All these desires gather momentum and cover your wisdom. That's all he's saying. So, next is from 41 to 43. He's going to directly talk about the method of overcoming, way to overcome these obstacles, the way to overcome the desire, how to win over the desire. That is what he talks from 41 to 43. Verse 41.
तस्मात् त्वमिन्द्रियाण्यादौ नियम्य भरतर्षभ पाप्मानं प्रजहिह्येनं ज्ञानविज्ञाननाशनम्
Tasmat, therefore, is coming to the conclusion. Whenever he says therefore means after giving logical explanation, he is taking us slowly towards conclusion. So he says Tasmat, therefore, Bharata Rishabha, bull among the Bharata race. O Arjuna, you're a strong person. And being a strong person, you should be able to control this desire, overcome this enemy. You're not a weak fellow. You can do it. He's just motivating Arjuna. Bharata Rishabha, you are like a bull. You're a strong personality. So, you can do it. How you have to do it? He says, first thing first. First thing he says is the senses. Controlling first the senses. Therefore, O Bharata Rishabha, controlling first the senses. Tasmat tvam indriyanyadav niyamya Bharata Rishabha. You have to, in the beginning, Adi, control the senses. Indriyani. Start from the senses. We don't do that at all. We don't have any importance attached to sense control. And when we say sense control, it means lifestyle. You understand? There has to be lifestyle changes, lifestyle modifications. So that's what he's saying. So controlling first the senses, then indeed kill this sinful destroyer of knowledge and wisdom. Tasmat tvam indriyan yadav niyamya Bharata Rishabha papmanam prajahikyenam. Papmanam prajahikyenam jnana vijnana nashanam. Indeed kill this sinful destroyer. Papmanam. You understand? Papmanam means sinful. Sinful destroyer of what? Jnana vijnana nashanam. Jnana means what? That everything is Brahman. Everything is Brahman. That is Jnana. And Vijnanam is that Brahman I am. My original nature is that Brahman. That is Vijnanam. So Jnana Vijnana Nashanam. It destroys this. See, what is happening? When we don't have proper identity. The identity is what? Atma. Consciousness. Brahman. I am that Brahman. Infinite. Paripurna. Completeness. This is my real identity. But today, what is my identity? This is not my identity today. In my understanding, my identity is what? I am limited. Isn't it? And how has it come about? Because of my ignorance of my true identity. So, I feel limited. Automatically happen is, I would want to feel complete. And to feel complete, my thoughts will run towards the world to acquire things from the world to feel complete. And when my thoughts run towards the world outside, it's in the initial stage, it's called attachment, then it becomes desire. So what is desire? Desire is nothing but thoughts running from you to the world outside to quench the sense of incompleteness which has come about due to ignorance of my true identity. So this is desire. So now, if I have to overcome my desire, I have to first overcome my ignorance, which means I have to gain the knowledge of the Atma. But to gain the knowledge of Atma, I should be available. Today, the fact that I've lived my lifestyle in such a way that my senses got habituated, my mind is full of desires, and my intellect is subservient to my mind, with such a personality, how I can gain the knowledge? Is it possible? It's not possible. So I have to work upon my personality before even I can go into knowledge. So, strictly speaking, you have to gain the knowledge of the self. But to gain the knowledge of the self, am I qualified? Am I ready? Am I prepared? No, because of the way we have been living. Therefore, he says, first controlling the senses. When he said first controlling the senses means what? Automatically, what it means is second the mind. You understand? Because these are the two things that is corrupting the buddhi, no? Are you with me? So the sense control and mind control is what he's talking about here. Sense control is called as dhamma, and mind control is called as shama. So sense control and mind control. Now what is sense control? Sense control does not mean sense denial. Simply denying. No, you will in fact get more frustrated. You will become more desirous, more craving. So sense denial is not a solution. Then what is sense control? Sense control means lending purpose to your contacts. Lending purpose to your contacts. What is helpful for your growth? Not what is helpful for your swelling. Swelling is different from growth. You understand? So what is helpful for your growth? Those things you allow through the senses. What is not helpful for the growth, don't allow. This practice is called sense control. And who's doing the sense control? Intellect. How intellect has viveka, the discrimination. It sets priority. When you study Shastra, what happens? When you study the Shastra through the Guru, you understand that there is Artha, Kama, Dharma, Moksha. These are the four things that everybody pursues. Artha means wealth. Kama means entertainment. Dharma means values, punya, etc. And Moksha means liberation. Now, moksha, those people who pursue moksha very little. Majority involved in artha, then kama, then dharma, very rarely moksha. Now, here, without viveka, without shastric knowledge and without thinking on the knowledge got from the Shastra, first of all, we may not know anything about liberation, about moksha, even may not know about dharma. Mostly we will know is what? Artha and Kama. And whole life will go in just acquisition, enjoyment. Acquisition, enjoyment. So once we develop this information from the Shastra, we know these are not going to help me. These are not going to help me to be happy, which is my goal. Then I set my priorities correctly. You understand? Dharma, Artha, Kama will not be my priority. Moksha will be my priority. And Artha, Kama, Dharma will have to be collected to help me to attain that moksha. Do you understand? The wealth that I have should help me to achieve that goal. Somebody gives me something, it may be something very expensive, but it is not in any way connected to my goal. It's an unnecessary thing I have to keep in my cupboard. So I say, Baba, you please keep it. I don't need it. You understand? Now, for example, if somebody gives me a novel, I don't have time to read novel, right? So I'm not going to read novels. I have split my time in such a way that I need to study the scriptures and do other things. So where is the time to read novel? I might as well give the novel to somebody else. So this way, when you have the viveka and guide the senses as to what should be allowed inside, what should not be allowed inside, how much it should be allowed, when it should be allowed. What should be allowed, what should not be allowed, how much should be allowed, when should be allowed. And accordingly, you allow using the senses. That is called sense control. Is this clear? Now, even though you've made sure that the senses are all controlled, you have not sent anything from outside into you. You control the senses. But you had already put many things in your mind. The way you have lived till date, intelligent lifestyle, the many things that has gone in, that is going to disturb you. So therefore, you need to practice mind control techniques also. Understand? As the Gita continues, he will talk about all these things in detail. Sense control, mind control and all that. So I'm not getting into those things in detail. For a simple example, I'll tell you. One of the practices that one can do is Maunam. You understand? Maunam, when you do, it gives you an opportunity to observe your own thoughts, conserve your energy. So, like that, there are so many practices. So, sense control, mind control. So, he says, Tasmat O Bharatarshaba. Therefore, Bharatarshaba Arjuna, controlling first the senses, then the mind. Indeed, kill this sinful destroyer of knowledge and wisdom. Jnana Vijnana Nashanam. Vijnana means living according to that knowledge. So, one is, when we said Jnanam is, everything is Brahman, Vijnanam is, that Brahman am I. Now, other is, I know everything is Brahman and that Brahman am I. But am I living as that Brahman Atman? Has it transformed into me? Has it become my personal experience? No. And that is disturbed by this desire. So it is dangerous for both Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga and Jnana Nishta. All these three. See, even to do Karma Yoga, you need to handle your desires properly. Isn't it? To be able to do the right action, do the Karma Yoga, you need to handle desire. And to pursue knowledge and gain knowledge, you need to control your desire. And to establish yourself in that knowledge, which is called Jnana Nishta, you need to control your desires. Therefore, very important thing at the first stage is sense control, mind control. Without sense control and mind control, if you continue gaining the knowledge, it will not help you. It will not be fruitful. Therefore, he says, the senses are to be controlled first, then the mind. Once the senses and mind are controlled, the viveka, the discriminating capacity of the intellect starts functioning properly. Then you will be able to set the priorities right in life. Isn't it? See, many places they talk about time management and all this and that. And in time management, nobody is talking about the mind and the senses. You are given so many other things. But if you do not know how to control your mind, he already said, mind is all consuming. Mind consumes time also. Isn't it? Your mind goes into YouTube and shorts videos. And you go on watching shorts videos for hours together. So in time management, the most important thing is mind management. Mind management is time management. You understand? Because mind is what consumes time. Mind is a great consumer. So you need to know how to manage the mind. And you need to give importance to managing the mind and the senses. So therefore, he said sense control and mind control. After that, you have to go into the knowledge of the Atma. And that he talks about in 42 and 43. First, you have a lifestyle. Bring about these lifestyle changes. Without the lifestyle changes, it won't work. So people say, why can't we gain this knowledge here itself? Is it necessary to go to ashram? Why you are going for 3 years there? And then we find so many students in the ashram, they're not just there for 3 years, they're there for 6 years, 9 years, 10 years, they're going on. What is the necessity to stay in such places? See, the necessity is this. We need to understand. We need to follow a certain lifestyle. Being there, it helps. You understand? If you can follow such a lifestyle here itself and then gain the knowledge, very good. Otherwise, big problem. So, you have to be clear in your head that the world cannot give me happiness. The acquisition of the worldly objects and beings cannot give me happiness. So, therefore, Artha Kama Dharma cannot be my goal. My goal is something beyond that Atma. But if I have to pursue that Atma, first I have to bring my senses and mind under my control. If I can't bring my senses and mind under my control, then it is not possible. Without sense control, mind control, without a certain lifestyle modifications and changes, if I pursue the knowledge, it will be like water sprinkled on a hot plate. When water is sprinkled on a hot plate, what happens? It evaporates. It's useless. It won't stay put. That's why he emphasized that first. Then he gets on. Then he, in 42 and 43, is giving that jnanam about Atma. Now, when you're talking about that Atma, you cannot directly talk about it because it is beyond everything. So therefore, he has to take you from the known to the unknown. See, whenever we talk about Atma, Atma is not only unknown, it is unknowable. Please understand this. Atma is not only unknown, it's unknowable. Unknowable means you cannot intellectually grasp it. You understand? So therefore, the fundamental principle of education is what? To move from the known to the unknown. And that he follows in 42 when he talks about the Atma Jnana. Verse 42.
इन्द्रियाणि पराण्याहुः इन्द्रियेभ्यः परं मनः मनसस्तु परा बुद्धिः योर्बुद्धे परतस्तु सः.
He keeps using the word para here. Para means superior. So he says, the senses are said to be great, superior. Senses are said to be great. Greater than the senses is the mind. Greater than the mind is the intellect. And that which is greater than the intellect is he, Saha. Saha refers to Brahman. You know, there is this mantra, Soham. Soham. What is Soham? Saha Aham. Saha Aham means Saha, Brahman. Aham, I. That Brahman am I. That is Soham. You understand? So Saha means he means Brahman. So he says this Brahman or consciousness is greater than the intellect. And that intellect is greater than the mind. And the mind is greater than the senses. And he said senses are great. Senses are greater than what? Senses are greater than this body and the worldly objects. So, compared to the worldly objects and the body, senses are great. Compared to the senses, mind is great, superior. Compared to the mind, intellect is great, superior. Compared to intellect, buddhi, atma, the self is great, superior. So what he wants to say is, In the order of subtlety is giving. Senses are subtler than the sense objects and the body. Sense objects and the body are gross elements, are made up of gross elements. And senses are made up of subtle elements, isn't it? And when the Atma functions through the buddhi and the mind and the senses only, you become aware of the body and the world. Therefore, senses are subtler than the world and the body. It's great. Greater than that is mind. Senses cannot function if the mind were not supporting it. As I'm talking now, this sound is entering your ears. The senses are conducting it. But the mind, which is the sense, where the sense center is somewhere else. Right? Will you register what I'm talking? So therefore, without the mind, the senses are useless. So therefore, mind is greater than the senses. Now, what is the mind? Mind is nothing but emotions and doubts. Doubting thoughts is called mind. Indiscriminate thought flow is called mind. Isn't it? Sankalpa vikalpatmakam, they say, when they talk about mind. So it is constantly doubting. It is indiscriminate thought flow. Now, this indiscriminate thought flow can be brought into control and direction only by the buddhi, discriminate thought flow. What is buddhi? Buddhi is nothing but discriminate thought flow. So the buddhi can control the mind. It is subtler than the mind. But now buddhi, which is subtler than the mind and the senses and the worldly objects and body, can it conceive Atma? Now buddhi is also what? Buddhi, mind and senses, they are all what? Sukshma Shariram. You must understand this. Every human personality can be divided into three. What are they? Gross body, subtle body, and causal body. Karana Shariram, Sukshma Shariram, and Stula Shariram. Karana Shariram, before Karana Shariram, Stula Shariram, gross body. Sukshma Shariram, subtle body. And the cause of these two bodies is Karana Shariram, Vasanas, causal body. You understand? So, compared to the Stula Shariram, Sukshma Shariram is subtle. Compared to the Sukshma Shariram, Karana Shariram is subtle. Of course, compared to the Karana Shariram, Atma is subtle. Atma is the subtlest. Okay. So what he's saying here, the intellect, the discriminating ability, which can control and direct the mind, which is subtler than the mind, is also Sukshma Sharira, like the senses and the mind. Senses, mind and intellect, they are part of Sukshma Sharira. This physical body is Stula Sharira. And Vasanas are Karana Sharira, causal body. Now, Sukshma Sharira is also what? Made up of the same 5 elements, but subtle elements. Gross body is made up of 5 elements, but gross elements. Whereas Sukshma Sharira is made up of same 5 elements, but subtle elements. So what does it mean? They are also insentient. Buddhi is able to know everything, isn't it? Is able to see whether my senses are controlled or not controlled, whether the mind is controlled or not controlled. Buddhi is able to see all that. But Buddhi is able to see all that because it is getting the capacity to see all this from the Atma's presence. When the Atma, the consciousness is present, in the presence of Atma, the Buddhi gets the capacity to know. You understand? It is with the Buddhi I know. It's with the Buddhi I know what I know. It is with the Buddhi I know what I don't know. Correct? But that Buddhi is able to know what I don't know, because the Atma is enlivening it. So Atma is much subtler than the Buddhi. So when we talk about subtlety, we talk about more pervasiveness and the controlling ability. So, Atma pervades the causal body, subtle body, and the gross body and the world. Whereas Buddhi doesn't pervade causal body and Atma. It is gross compared to causal body and Atma. Mind can only go into known. Mind can't go into unknown. Buddhi is what helps the personality go into the unknown, makes it known. Once it's made into known, then the mind can go. You understand? So, like that, when you analyze, Atma is the subtlest. Then, compared to Atma, intellect is gross. But intellect is subtle compared to mind. Mind is gross compared to intellect, but subtle compared to senses. Senses are gross compared to mind, but subtle compared to the body and the world. So, from the known to the unknown, he is taking us. This is what is called as Chandra Shaka Nyaya or Arundhati Darshana Nyaya. During wedding, I don't know it is there in North India or not, but in South India it's there. Tell the couple to see. You see Arundhati star. Then you can't obviously see the moon, and through the moon you see this other star, and from that you see this Arundhati, like that. Similarly, Chandra Shaka Nyaya. To see the sun, moon during daytime, sometimes you can spot it. Now, what do they say? You see this tree, some tree they point out. Then they point out to a branch of the tree. Then point out to the twig in that particular branch. And through the twig, they say, you see the moon. There is no connection between the tree, the branch, and the twig and the moon, but it helps. So, like that, slowly, he step by step is telling you sense, mind, intellect, and Atma. Atma is much subtler than the intellect. Intellect cannot understand Atma. Intellect understands everything else. How? With the help of the Atma. It is not what you can understand. It is that which makes you understand. Atma is not something that can be understood. It is that which makes you understand everything. That sentient, enlivening principle which makes you know what you know and what you don't know. That is your Atma. So what now he wants to say? Turn your attention towards Atma. Take your attention away from the body, mind, intellect complex. You understand? Today, what has happened due to ignorance? We discussed about ignorance, if you remember. Ignorance of Atma, our true identity. We have this false identity that I am limited. And due to false identity that I am limited, to feel complete, my thoughts are going to the world, and that is desire, and that's the problem here. So if I have to solve this problem, I have to gain the true identity, Atma. And because of my ignorance of my true identity, I have got this false identity, Abhimana. The Abhimana is upon the senses. The Abhimana is upon the body. The Abhimana is upon the senses. The Abhimana is upon the mind. The Abhimana is upon the intellect. Now the Abhimana should be taken away from the body to the senses. From the senses to the mind. From the mind to the intellect. From the intellect to the Atma. Slowly shift the identity from the body to the senses. From the senses to the mind. From the mind to the intellect. From the intellect to the Atma. That's all he said. So, what is he saying? In these shlokas, if you see, in 41 he said, sense control, mind control, and viveka. Right? Dhamma, Shama, Viveka. Now he's saying, shift the attention from the body to the senses. From the senses to the mind. From the mind to the intellect, from the intellect to the Atma. Slowly, slowly, step by step, shift your identity. Straight away, you can't identify with Atma because you haven't done proper tapas. See, before people go for trekking, they go climbing small, small mountains, isn't it? First, you walk, then you go to small mountain climbing, and then you can, having prepared yourself, then you go for real trekking. So, like that, first practice sense control, then mind control, then come to shifting the identity from the body to the senses. Slowly, slowly go. And when you have through this step by step method, you get stronger and stronger. And then you can start shifting your identity towards Atma. So, in other words, if you have to put it in a much simpler way, sadhana pehla karo, sense control, mind control, and then gain the knowledge and shift your attention. Verse 43. Now, after doing all this, what do you have to do? You have to establish yourself in that Atma. Having shifted yourself self from the body mind intellect complex to the Atma, now you have to establish yourself in Atma. And that he discusses in last shloka. Verse 43.
एवं बुद्धे परं बुद्ध्वा संस्तभ्यात्मानमात्मना जहि शत्रुं महाबाहो कामरूपं दुरासदम्.
Thus, knowing that which is greater than the intellect and restraining the self by the self, O Mahabaho, O mighty armed Arjuna, kill the enemy in the form of desire. Jahi Shatrum Mahabaho, Kama Rupam Durasadam. It is in the form of desire, Kama Rupam. And Durasadam, hard to conquer, very difficult to conquer the desire. Meaning what? Don't take it easily. Don't think, I can contact. A lot of people who are addicted to things, anything for that matter, not necessarily to substance or alcohol or anything, even to mobile phone. They'll say, if I want, I can be without it. Those fellows can never be without it. They are only saying, if I want, I can be without it. They cannot be. It is their ego. And they are poo-pooing the power of worldly objects, power of the senses, power of the mind. They are not understanding. They are taking it very lightly. People, that's why in the Shastra, they give the example of Vishwamitra-ji. Vishwamitra could have taken care of many Menakas if he wanted. He purposely put himself to that predicament to teach us all that don't take it easy. Don't slight the senses. Don't think, big deal, I can handle it. So he says, thus knowing that which is greater than the intellect, meaning Atma, having gained the knowledge of the Atma, having reflected upon the Atma, and understanding that it is the subtlest, it is more pervasive, it is that which controls everything, which is beyond everything, having understood that, you have to restrain the self by the self. You have to restrain the intellect, you have to restrain the mind by the intellect which is fortified with the knowledge. After practicing sense control and mind control. O Mahabaho, O Arjuna, this is the way to kill the enemy, Shatru. Kill the enemy through this method. Kill the enemy with this technology or method. And what enemy? Who? In which form? Desire form, Kama Rupam. And once you conquer Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya, everything conquered. So he doesn't talk about, though he said, Kama Yesha, Krodha Yesha, Rajoguna Samudbhava. There he mentioned about Krodha. But Krodha you don't have to worry much because if you have conquered Kama, you can assume that you have conquered everything. You have conquered the modifications also. So therefore he says, O Mahabaho, kill the enemy in the form of desire, which is hard to conquer. Hard to conquer doesn't mean you cannot conquer. wants to say, don't take the enemy very lightly. Today, India-Pakistan match is there in the evening in Asia Cup. India has beaten Pakistan twice, right? Don't take the enemy lightly. Caution has already come to us. How? When we played against Sri Lanka. Day before yesterday, we played against Sri Lanka, and it was, by God's grace, I think India won the match. Sri Lanka played brilliantly, isn't it? So they could have won the match. They lost it. India should have lost it. They won the match. So therefore, don't take anything lightly. Past records, put it in the shelf. Start practicing now what he said. So what he's saying, if you have to put it in simple format for you to remember, right? Sadhana, sense control, mind control. I will put that in the word withdrawal. Withdrawal means not withdrawing from the world, but control. So W, withdrawal means W, plus K, knowledge. So you have to constantly have a lifestyle of sadhana, sense control, mind control, and take knowledge. So you can say sadhana plus K, S plus K, instead of withdrawal plus K. Sadhana plus K, knowledge, underlined by your capacity. Don't overdo it. If you overdo it, tomorrow you will not do. If we suppose stretch the class, 11 to 12 class, if I keep on stretching it for another half an hour, another 1 hour, you will slowly stop coming to the class. You understand? So, therefore, it has to be done according to your capacity, and it has to be done consistently. So the formula is what? To conquer the desire, S plus K in the numerator, and in the denominator small c, capacity, circled by big C, consistency. So the formula is what? S, sadhana, plus K, knowledge, underlined by C, capacity, circled by consistency. Keep on doing consistently. Don't worry how much you are growing, how much you are developing. You are going to be growing and developing. Nobody can stop you. This is what he says. So to realize the self, you need to practice this. First, you have to control the senses and mind, and then gain the knowledge. Without this, you cannot do that. So, with this sloka number 43, chapter 3, he concludes. He concludes doesn't mean we have understood everything. We have to go through the chapter again and again. So, we usually, chant the first shloka to tell us that we have not concluded, we are only beginning.
ॐ तत्सत् इति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासूपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे कर्मयोगो नाम तृतीयोऽध्यायः.
So, Sri Krishna has discussed the Karma Yoga. We have also gone through the Karma Yoga, but Karma Yoga has to go through us totally, fully. So, we have to study it again and again. So, we remind ourselves that we have just started, we have not concluded. So, let's chant shloka number 1 of chapter 3.
अर्जुन उवाच ध्यायसि चेत् कर्मणस्ते मता बुद्धिर्जनार्दन तत्किं कर्मणि घोरे मां नियोजयसि केशव.
Next week, I shall do the summary of chapter 3. Let's conclude now. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.